In a quiet village surrounded by green hills and whispering trees, there lived an old man named Ibrahim. Time had bent his back and silvered his hair, but his eyes still carried a strange calm, one that made people uncomfortable. Ibrahim was poor by every visible measure. He owned no fields, no shop, no gold hidden under the floor. His house was small, built of mud and wood, standing at the edge of the village like it didn't care to be noticed. But Ibrahim owned one thing that made him famous: a magnificent white horse. The horse was unlike any other, tall, strong, with a coat that shone like moonlight and eyes that seemed to understand human sorrow. When Ibrahim walked through the village with the horse beside him, people stopped and stared. Children followed them. Travelers asked questions. Rich landlords from distant towns came with heavy purses and tempting offers. "Sell us the horse," they begged. "We will give you enough money to live like a king." Ibrahim always shook his head gently. "This horse is not my property," he would say. "He is my companion. You don't sell your family." The villagers laughed behind his back. "Old fool," they whispered. "Peace doesn't fill an empty stomach." But Ibrahim lived simply. He ate little, slept peacefully, and greeted every sunrise as if it were a gift. One morning, before dawn, Ibrahim went outside to feed the horse. The rope was broken. The stable was empty. The white horse was gone. News spread faster than fire. Villagers gathered, some pretending sympathy, others unable to hide their satisfaction. "We told you so," they said. "This is what happens when you refuse money. Now you have nothing."
Ibrahim listened quietly.
His face showed neither shock nor despair. "Maybe it's a loss," he said calmly. "Maybe it's not. Life hasn't finished speaking yet." The villagers shook their heads. "He's pretending to be wise," they mocked. "At night, he must be crying." But that night, Ibrahim slept deeply. 3 days later, thunder echoed through the hills. The ground trembled. Villagers ran outside and froze. The white horse was returning. Behind him followed 7 wild horses, their hooves striking the earth like drums of destiny. Dust filled the air. It was a sight no one had ever seen. The village erupted. "This is incredible. You are blessed. You lost 1 and gained 8. They rushed to Ibrahim, now speaking with admiration instead of pity. But Ibrahim only smiled. "Maybe it's good," he said. "Maybe it's not. Let time decide." The villagers were irritated by his calm. Why couldn't he just celebrate? Ibrahim's only son, Yusuf, was young, strong, and ambitious. He dreamed of turning the wild horses into wealth for his father. Day after day, he trained them. He fell, stood up, bled, and smiled. One afternoon, Yusuf mounted the most aggressive horse. The animal reared violently. Yusuf was thrown. There was a sickening crack. His leg shattered. Cries filled the village. The healer came. The verdict was cruel. Yusuf would walk again, but never as before. The villagers gathered once more. "This is a disaster," they said. "If the horse had never returned, this wouldn't have happened." Ibrahim sat beside his son, holding his hand. "Pain speaks loudly," he said softly, "but it doesn't tell the whole story." Months later, black flags appeared on the horizon. War had come. The king's soldiers marched into the village, cold-eyed and merciless. Every healthy young man was taken by force. Mothers screamed. Fathers collapsed. But Yusuf was spared. His broken leg kept him alive. Days later, news arrived from the battlefield. Thousands were dead. The village fell into mourning. The same villagers now stood silently before Ibrahim, unable to meet his eyes. "You were right," they whispered. "What we called misfortune was mercy." Ibrahim looked at the hills, where the wind carried both sorrow and hope. "No," he said gently. "I was not right. And you were not wrong. We simply judged too early. Life," Ibrahim continued, "is not a single page. It is a book. A chapter may look dark, but it doesn't define the ending. What you call loss may be protection. What you call pain may be preparation. And what you call blessing may be a test. The villagers listened in silence. For the first time they understood. Life is not black and white. It moves like waves, up and down, calm and violent. Wise people do not rush to label events as good or bad. They wait. They observe. They trust. Because sometimes, loss opens doors you couldn't see. Pain saves you from greater suffering. Delay protects you from destruction. So don't panic when life breaks your plans. Don't celebrate too quickly when things go your way. Stay steady. Stay patient. Because life is always working, even when you don't understand how.